See, I told you guys Cletus on sent me some of these. I lost the bolt for the front cover. The front timing cover. But old Cleater done came through. Yeah, I think this one's maybe a little too long. Let's get a shorter one. You guys are wondering if I'm torquing these to spec. Yes, yes I am. About 2 agadagas. All right, I gotta do these. These are 10 mils for this compressor pipe bracket, and then we're gonna install a rear main. Did I say rear main? I meant front. And then we're gonna give this thing a coat of paint. I forgot to clean this off, but we'll put the front main on and we'll kind of spray air down, cover up this crank snout, spray air down, and then some ether will do the trick. Yeah, I forgot to turn her over. I realized that I was already putting it on. I was like, ah, the hell with it. It'd be alright. Ain't nobody gonna see this anyway because it'll be all covered up. But I am gonna make it prettier. Sorry about the finger. No, not that one. All right, so we got our part of our tool threaded. We got our front main. Let's make sure to put it on the right way. So you don't want any oil or dirt on this blue. So we're gonna wipe that off. We're gonna put a thin coat of oil along the outside of this lip here. And we're gonna slide it on. And then we're gonna take our tool and we're just gonna drive her on. Sure the crankshaft snout is clean. Don't have anything in there. We're gonna put some oil around the outside. Make sure it's going the right way. Should we just aga-daga this on? Maybe. So we're nice and tight. So we're in. Loosen our bolts, nuts. Take off our tool. Ta-da! Looks pretty good. So we got our O-rings and our injectors changed, and we got our new copper tips on, and we're gonna put them in their respective holes. All right, so we can take our wedge out because we are in time, baby. So this engine takes a 6 degree. I believe most of them are 6 degree, but when you buy the kit, it comes with all of them. The 871 obviously will use 2 of these because it has 2 cams. So I'm going to organize my injectors in the fashion that they need to go. So I looked up the quick serve, which one actually is the #1 injector and which one is not. And it has the, where the hell is it? Right there. Gives you the trim codes. So we're gonna look those up, or is it up here? I think it's up here. We're gonna look all those up, and then we're gonna arrange them accordingly, and then we're gonna put them in with their feed tubes. And maybe we can get that valve cover cleaned up and try to assemble most of this engine here yet today. Alrighty, so we got some oil on our O-rings. These guys here, they only have 1. Now we're gonna take our hold downs and go 1 at a time. We're not reusing these tubes. This injector can go only one way, as you see those notches. So it's the only way it can go. There goes #1. And she's in. Five more to go. All right, so we got our injector feed tubes, and these can only go in one way. You see they got this little slot here that's flat. So this faces down. Now, this is a crush fit. So technically, you're not supposed to reuse them unless you take this and pair it with the same injector. Now, it's still not guaranteed not to leak because this tip crushes into the injector body, excuse me. And that's what creates your seal. And then your high pressure lines go onto here, pressurizes this tube, and this is what feeds the injector. So we're gonna put a little oil on these, and we're gonna slide them in, and we're gonna clean up our nuts, the retaining nuts that go over these, and torque them. So the injectors are in, and the way you do it per insight, and I've actually seen it done both ways. I forgot the inch pound spec now, but I think it's something like 29 inch pounds. You do the hold down bolts, and yes, they all have oil on the threads. And then you put your tubes in, and you put your retaining nuts on the tubes. Then you torque them to 59, and then you torque your injectors to 59. Now you could do it either way. You could torque your injectors to 59, then you can torque your feed tubes to 59, and I've seen it done both ways, and they work just fine. So I'm going by the book right now, just because I got time, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I have enough time where we'll paint this a different color. I'm not making any promises though. But yeah, again, everything's in. And the only thing we got to do is we got to put in our valve bridges. Then we can throw our rocker arms on, and we'll close this guy up. I'll clean that valve cover off. Somebody's giving me shit for it, that the valve cover is dirty. Well, I mean, it's not assembled yet, dude. It's still working on it. The valve cover is just sitting on top of the motor to keep debris out. And then we can kind of seal this motor up and not have anything. We'll hang the intake on it. Hopefully we can get that done yet today. So let's get to work. As you see, I'll demonstrate on this. You see how flat it is? So you gotta go flat side down. Now this isn't the one I wanna be doing right now, but I'm showing you guys. So this is the one we're gonna do. And see, it clips in. It goes click, and that's in. So let's go get the rest of them. Right, Bert? Those are all in.
Nicey.
Now I can clean up our retaining nuts and pop them on. We'll come back and torque these in a bit. All right, so it's much later in the day. I had to run some errands with the boy. So, injector per quick serve, when you first put them in, 177 inch-pounds. Then you slide your tube in, kind of like what we did. Then you torque your injector to 59. Then you torque your tubes to 57. So real quick, we're going to torque our injectors to 59. Then we're going to come back and do our tubes, and that should be good. See, we got the rockers in. Those are not torqued yet. But maybe those will get done here too. Sun is setting pretty fast. I made a mess of stuff out here, but that's all right. We'll clean it up tomorrow. So yeah, she's starting to look like our engine again. Set our torque wrench up. There we go. So we're going to do our injectors first. And so what I do with, usually when I torque injectors on these, this cylinder head is clean, but I come back and I retorque them. Not with anything extra, but just to make sure that nothing changed. With this, we should be okay because our bolt holes are clean, and I did oil the threads, so we should be all right. But this is a diesel engine, and this diesel engine has like 20-to-1 compression. Couple that with 30 pounds of boost, that's a lot of pressure pushing on that. So you want to make sure that your torque is correct. So we're going to go again. Just making sure that we're good. And we should be, because again, so if this was like a if this was a cylinder head that had oil in it, you know, from running, which it hasn't because this is a brand new head, you would you know, have oil in your threads. It's hard to get that out. It's hard to clean it out completely. I mean, you can get it out, but you're always going to have a little bit off. So that will throw off your torque reading. And this is probably as important of a torque reading as, well, anything else. Because, again, you don't want these to blow out. So now we can do our tubes. 57. Let's see if our socket will fit over these. Oh, it will. Nice. So I think what we'll do real quick here is we're going to seat these rocker shafts. If I can find the right socket. So 15 mil. So when you're seating these, you need to be careful because you're compressing the valve train. So you want to make sure that you're doing it slow so you don't break a rocker shaft. Because as this sits down, it's going to open the valve. So you go little by little, kind of like we did that rear main seal and front main seal, and this shaft and these rollers are going to sit down on this cam, and they're going to open the appropriate valve. see everything's getting tight up here in the front because it wants to open these valves. By the way, we took our camshaft wedge out. We took our pinning tool and we spun the motor over to make sure that we're good. I just got it. Set everything up. And that valve was a little stuck as you saw it, so that went ding. Because again, everything's brand new. Now it's all nicely seating. And this isn't like, we're not torquing this by any means. We're just trying to get the rocker shaft to sit down flush. Because again, these rockers are going to open the appropriate valves. So if you don't bring it down slowly, and you just zip it in, one bolt, you'll break it. So these, I'll have to look at my torque sheet, but I want to say it's 55 foot-pounds. Then you release, you undo the bolt, and then you go 22. Again, I have to check. And then you do an angle. So but that's our rocker shaft. Set down beautifully. And we're gonna have the same thing over here. This one's probably not as bad because I think this one's actually mostly sitting flat. So all these valves are probably not open on this end, but we're still gonna take it easy. And then we're going to set the overhead on this engine before it goes in the truck, because it's going to be a lot easier out here to do that. All right, I'm going to put my dirty valve cover on that somebody was complaining about. I was hoping to clean that off today and get it, you know, get the rack set on this, the overhead set on this, get the harness in it, the injector harness, but we didn't get that far. But that's all right. We got the gear train done. We got the camshaft in. We got the rockers in. We got the injectors in. So this is the detail stuff. This is the stuff you got to pay attention to. Make sure all our jakes are where they need to be. They're supposed to do that. If they don't, you got a problem. So obviously it's dark, we can't see anything, but that's where we're going to end it for tonight. I'll leave all my tools out. I'm going to cover this up with my dirty valve cover again. We're going to stick a rag in here so nothing gets in there, and we're done for the night. So we'll pick this up tomorrow.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I've been on the flex since flex zone.